Good afternoon. Today I'm going to show you how to use a previous version of a file or a document to rescue yourself when some mishap has happened to that file or document. We'll be using version 7 of Windows, and hopefully this should only take you about 10 minutes. Give or take a few, depending on your computer's speed and how comfortable you are with Windows 7. I'd like to give you a little background. First, there are two different ways to save copies of files. One, you could make a second copy of every file that's on your computer, but think about it, that would take forever. So Windows 7 came up with this great idea. They made something called the backup. A backup is a copy of all of the documents that you had on your computer when you ask for the backup to be made. Windows 7 is introducing or using something new called a shadow copy. A shadow copy is when the computer takes a snapshot of the files at a specific point in time and then tracks the changes to those files. This is pretty cool if you're just worried about the changes made to the file. If you had a good standard version of it first and then you just have been messing with it. Depending on your needs, you can use either the restore point that you made with the backup or the restore with the backup or a restore point with a shadow copy. It all depends on what you need and what you're comfortable with. Windows 7 has devised a specific utility to make this easy. Due to the fact that we're not going to have the same files on our computers, I've created something called marketing documents. Right now, marketing documents is on my flash drive, so I have to move it from my flash drive to my computer. And if no one has told you this yet, a flash drive is a lot better place to have your files than your computer, unless you're backing up like every day. Reason being is that, yeah, you can lose your flash drive, but if you've made a backup of your flash drive, that's great. But if you get a virus on your computer, the flash drive sort of protects you a little bit better. So here we go. We're going to move it from my flash drive onto my computer. We are going to come over here and click Start Computer. Just so you're aware, Windows 7, the default for all folder viewing options is that each time you open a folder within a folder, the only one that stays open is the folder you're currently in. I do not have that option enabled on my computer. I like each folder to open and then let me decide to close it. So I will be clicking things closed a little bit more than you will be. So we're coming down here to my USB drive. Double click on it. Wow, there's marketing documents. Okay, for me, because of the option I have, I'm just going to take and drag marketing documents over to here. You could instead right click, tell it to send it to somewhere. Don't want to send it to ourselves. I could send it to my documents. But like I said, it's much easier just to do it this way. Click, drag, and it's made a copy. Alright. Now I'm going to shut up my USB here. If you noticed, I had just arrowed down my computer because you're actually going to need my computer later in this little exercise. So our first step is to come here to the Start icon. We click it, and then we are going to come up here to Control Panel, System and Security. Then you're going to look down this center section, and we want System. Okay, this tells you about the basics of your system. But what we actually want to do is we're protecting our system. So we're going to look over here. Wow, there's system protection. Cool little thing that I'm seeing with Windows 7 that I didn't notice with Windows XP. I'm not saying it's not there, I just didn't notice it. These little protective type of utilities all have a, and they're part of the Windows 7, so they have this shield icon with them. We click on System Protection, it opens up, and now it's down here, you'll look that it's searching for available drives to mess with. Here's the system restore, but we don't have a restore point yet that we want to use. If you're not sure about system protection, here's a great little tutorial that you can take. PQ service, you see that the protection is off for it. I leave it alone. You're going to want to do the same for any extra areas in here, unless you know what it is and unless you know that it's something that you want to back up. So we make sure that my eMachines, my C drive is highlighted, and then we want to configure. We want to figure out what the heck we're doing. Okay, you'll see that my percentage is 15%. This is the disk space usage. How much of the disk space do you want to set aside for restoring? You can see right now my current usage is almost 10 gigabytes. Okay, everybody will have something slightly different. Okay, 15 is what we're going to ask of this, and that's already preset on mine. Okay, normally it's about at 5%, and you can see that so far it would have been okay, but we're going to come back here and you just click it and slide. We don't need that much. We'll stay with the 15. Okay, there's some other areas here I want to show you. Restore settings. System protection can keep copies of system settings. So are we going to restore system settings and previous versions of files, or only restore previous versions of the files, or turn this off entirely? It's often easier to restore your system settings, because what if you accidentally go into Windows 7 and change something that you didn't want? Then you're stuck. And sometimes when you change these settings, it is so confusing that you don't remember where you changed it. So it's just better to do this, in my opinion, each time. Be aware it's going to take up more space, but that's not a big deal compared to the hassle that you would have. Down here it talks about deleting restore points. I grew up with computers, and it was taught to me years and years ago that you want a minimum of 2 backup restore points. Just because you never know when something's going to happen. So we're at 15%. Now you get to click OK. Okay, we've done the configuring, and now we're going to create that point. This, depending on your computer speed, this is one of the longer parts. So you're going to create. And it says, hey, let's give this a name. And I am going to say shadow copy 1. Now I've already got a shadow copy 1, so let's see what it asks me. Creating a restore point, and it's working, and it's working, and it's working. This can take a couple of minutes. Actually, can take quite a while, depending on your system. If you have just a little bit of RAM, this will take a while. One of the neat things I do want to point out to you is that this whole section has a lot of cool things, and it is the system properties, and there's a couple other ways to get at system properties. The way we did it was the fastest. Alright, here's our restore point, and it even beeped merrily for us. So we're going to close that. Okay, and then we're going to click OK. And we don't need this one, so I'm going to shut this one, and we don't need this one, so I don't. It's going to shut right out of those. Okay, now here's where we're going to mess with some of our documents. We've created our restore point, and now we want to see, hey, makes that restore point work. But it's not going to work unless we change something. This is why I left my computer up and running. So I'm going to click on here, and here's my marketing documents. Here's first quarter report. And again, these were created just for the use of this, so there's not much there. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to type a sentence in here. Okay, we are going to type after shadow copy. And I'm going to even do that just to make it look different. Now we're going to click File, Save, or if you know your shortcuts, Control S. I'm going to close Notepad. Okay, so we've made the changes. Next time we get in there, it's going to be there. Okay, shut one thing too many here. Now we're just going to double check. Is it still there? Okay, that's not what we wanted to do. It's still there. Okay, so we right click on the document we want to fix. We are going to come down here. See, a lot of things we could do. We could open it, we could print it, edit, scan it. Okay, we want to restore. Okay, we're in the properties of the first quarter report, and now it's looking for previous versions. Here's the other area where it takes a minute. Ha! There it is in my restore point. It says it was made yesterday, but it was actually made today. So let's wait and make sure and see if anything else pops up. You can tell that Windows is thinking because your little mouse is flickering. Okay, we're going to give it another minute, or okay, we are going to restore this. Are you sure you want to restore it? We're going to click Restore. The file has been successfully restored. Now we can close these. Okay, here was where we had the document before. Let's double click on this and see. Wow, it's gone. That after shadow copy, it's gone. It saved it. Okay. So now we're going to click out of these, and you've just learned how to restore a document or a folder. You could actually do that with a folder where you had done multiple changes to multiple documents. You could restore all of those documents at once. I hope this was helpful. Good day.